to oppose one specific part of this bill, and that is the part of the bill that calls for a town referendum on any tax treaty, for a lack of a better term. The Chamber of Commerce has a history of opposing any type of referendum, whether it be initiative petition, whether it be a referendum on a mall, on a casino. As a fundamental principle, the Chamber of Commerce believes that these types of issues are extremely complicated. That's why we elect people to be in a position to be able to take the time to study the pros and the cons and determine what's in the best interest of whether it be a town or whether it be the state. Again, for the same reason, we oppose initiative petition. I can tell you, as somebody who used to work on them, usually the side who wins is the one that spends the most money. And we feel that's not the best way to make public policy here in our state. We have no position on the power plant one way or another. It's strictly on that piece of the bill, and we respectfully request that if any bills pass, that be removed. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Representative Marcello, takes a couple.
Thank you. I just have I don't know if you can answer this, but I just want to point this out for the benefit of the committee staff. It looks like under the Burville portion, it says the referendum shall be scheduled for the next general election. So if I'm reading this correctly, if the town entered into a tax treaty with a power plant, it would, today, it would have to wait almost, well, after November,
Correct.
then they would have to wait a whole 2 years to
Right.
get...
It would be a way to delay the project. And it could kill the project, again, whether it be a power plant or any other type of economic development project. It could kill it just by making it wait.
So I'm assuming that it anticipates that the tax treaty would have to be negotiated prior to any shovels hitting the ground, because they would want to know what their tax liability would be before they even begin to.
I agree.
So I'm just curious. So that was the intent. I mean, I know you didn't draft this, but the intent. I'm reading this correctly then. So it would have to be at the next general election. It wouldn't be a special election. It wouldn't be. It says general election. So.
It does say. Just wanted to double check because I wasn't sure if they could call for one, but I think you're right. I think it is a general election.
All right. Thank you for that.
And we'll certainly make sure we double check with council on that one. But that does, I think that's something that again, we'll obviously continue looking at. Any other questions for Ms. Boisselle, for Lenette? Representative Lombardi.
I can, but I don't think.
Push it and hold it for a second. Just, well, there.
I'm so used to red lights,
Technical challenge.
Mr. Chairman.
Don't go through them.
Don't go through them, and don't come to Providence, especially you. So I guess what's troubling me is what would be wrong with the town and the council having the last say in this? I mean, is there a problem with that? You said you oppose the referendum?
I do. We do, as a Chamber of Commerce, because here's what happens. And to give a great analogy, our sister state has initiative petition. Same idea. What happens is you've got these complicated issues that have to get boiled down to a little paragraph that goes on to a ballot. There are many, many pros and cons that if you truly want to do the right policy thing, you've got to spend hours studying it to be able to understand the good points and the bad points. Most people in the electorate don't take that time. They usually elect their town council people, they elect their state representatives, they ask you to spend the time doing that. So our concern is that as soon as you go to some type of town referendum or initiative petition, whoever spends the most money advertising is usually the one that wins, and that's not the best way to make policy.
I guess the policy, if that's the way you feel, but I think we've seen enough people today, we've heard enough people today that I think I don't see anybody going away that's opposed to this today. I don't come to this with any predisposition, but I think it's always good to engage the people, especially the local officials, and I think that's what they want to hear, and let them ferret it out, let them do the due diligence, and it's up or down. I just have a problem when you leave it with, it's supposed to be a representative form of government. Sometimes it doesn't really end up that way. They don't speak on behalf of the people. So I think this is a good process. My humble opinion.
Representative Regenberg, you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just curious, money
money plays a big role in pretty much every election. Do you think that we shouldn't have any elections?
I think that's what people elect you to do. I mean, I don't want to get too far off because the chairman asked me not to, but I can give you examples.
Answering questions, obviously, we can answer questions.
I'll give you an example, perfect example. I used to work on initiative petitions in Massachusetts as a staff person. One of the issues was a tax issue, and I was hired to help get that tax issue passed. After reading it and spending hours and hours of study, I realized there was a problem that could have bankrupted the state of Massachusetts. I went to the people who wrote it and said, do you understand this problem is there? And I was told by them, absolutely, we know it's there, we'll fix that later. And all I could think of is this isn't the way to make policy. That wasn't what the media ads would say, that's not what the radio ads would say, but unless you spent hours and hours reading it, you would not have known. And that's just an example.
Any other questions for Ms. Boisselle? Any other questions? Thank you very much.